So I think alternately the Kremlin knows
Footage of
that
Donald
this could
Trump
be
at a
very
White House
bad for
press
them.
briefing. Cut to
But
scenes of
what
missile
they're going to
strikes in
do
Kyiv,
about it,
emergency
whether it actually
responders aiding
happens
civilians.
and the Americans
Breaking
actually
tonight,
do this is
President Donald
another
Trump is
question.
cutting the
So I think
timeline for
if you
Russia to
look at
agree
what
to a
they're
ceasefire
saying,
with Ukraine.
I believe
What
that
was
they
once a
doubt
50-day deadline
that
is
the
now
White
just
House
10 to
will
12
actually
days.
do this,
But will this
but they
accelerated
can't
ultimatum make any
guarantee that it
difference,
won't.
especially if
So that's
Vladimir
where they
Putin has
stand. They
already
have to kind
decided
of,
against
be
peace?
very prepared
Announcement,
for
Trump
almost
clip,
anything.
Russia
And
has had
it's
enough
very
time to do the
interesting to
right
watch. The
thing.
stakes
They
are
now
very
have
high.
10, maybe 12
Jill
days
Dougherty,
to stop
thanks
this
as always
aggression,
for your
or we will act
expertise. Appreciate it
decisively.
very much.
President
Moscow says
Trump's
it has,
remarks
quote,
mark
taken
a
note of
significant
Donald
shift in
Trump's
tone.
decision to
Just
slash
weeks
his
ago,
initial
he allowed
50-day
nearly 2
deadline
months for
to no more
diplomacy to
than
work.
12 days.
Now, the
If
clock
Russia
is ticking
doesn't
much
come up with a
faster.
truce in that time,
Countdown
Mr.
timer
Trump will
graphic
threaten
overlaid on footage of the
harsher
White
economic
House.
penalties
So the countdown
from the United
begins.
States.
Will this
On
deadline
the
push
ground,
Russia toward
Ukraine is
peace,
still being
or will
hit
it
with
set the
overnight
stage for even
Russian
more
airstrikes.
confrontation?
Officials tell us that
For now, the
latest
world is
attack
watching.
hit a prison in Zaporizhia, killing 17 inmates. Kyiv calls that another war crime by the Russians. Well, CNN's Nick Pate-Walsh is on the ground for us in eastern Ukraine. How are President Trump's comments playing out there, Nick? And what are you hearing and seeing on the ground?
Ultimately, President Trump shortening that deadline. I should point out, after meetings with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the UK among multiple European powers who perhaps first heard that 50-day deadline and indeed felt that it was particularly lengthy and potentially gave the Kremlin the entirety of this summer to continue their current offensive. The shortening of it to 10 to 12 days, well, it massively increases the urgency potentially on Moscow to find some kind of peace deal to accede to Trump's demands, if indeed they have any interest in that. The downside, of course, is the secondary sanctions and tariffs that their allies, their energy customers might face. That's China and India. To impose tariffs on China and India, the United States would have to endure upsetting a key ally in India, roiling global energy markets, potentially pushing up American energy consumer prices, and then massively complicating its already very messy relationship with China, who are a key Russian ally. So it's a big ask, frankly, for Trump to make good on his threats 10 to 12 days from now. But the broader question is whether or not Vladimir Putin sees this moment where we are, Becky, along the front line, hearing of increased progress, not the incremental small nameless villages that we've seen over the past months and years potentially fall into Russian hands, often at an enormous cost of casualties to Russian forces. Instead, something that's beginning to feel a little more significant.